All right, what's up, guys? We back in here with more content for you, and we got a video from Thomas Sowell TV titled "The Root Cause of Bitterness in America." Now, in the thumbnail, they had in bold letters that this interview was over 30 years old, so he must have said something pretty profound for it to last this long and for the thumbnail to even be what the thumbnail was. So with that being said, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe while we're watching the video. I know I've done plenty of Thomas Sowell, but I love his videos. I always learn something from him, so get used to it. I'm gonna keep doing them until you guys tell me you don't want to see him no more. All right, now let's get into it.
Back to the campus again. What is creating the prejudice, other than the elites that you talk about that have their own? What is it among people that creates the differences that they don't get along?
Well, the differences have always been there, but they got along before. I mean, blacks and whites were different at Harvard when I was there, but you didn't find all the black students huddled together at lunchtime at the end of some table, the way you do on many campuses today.
See, now that's interesting. As old as he is, he's saying that back in his time, you didn't find black people just clumped together with black people. You didn't find black people saying we need black spaces. They just went to school to do their work, to get a degree, to graduate. All they cared about was business. Now college has turned into this big safe space, just soft. It's just a soft field now. You know, college used to be about bouncing the best ideas off of each other, regardless of what side they were on, to come to better conclusions. But now you don't. Now even college has been politicized, sadly. But it's just interesting that back then in those times, everyone was able to get along fine in school. Now, 60 or however many, 50, 40 years later, it almost, the way you hear people talking about the problem, talking about it being a problem, you would almost think it's worse now today than it was back then.
All the black students I knew had white roommates. And I would say that the ones that I knew were all popular, other than me. But that's not the situation today.
So what's causing it?
The fact that you do have those little elites who have their agenda. It's the fact that the black students are forced to come out and do the demonstrations and the whatnot. The fact that you have students there who are tremendously alienated because they suddenly find themselves in this situation where academically it's all they can do to keep their noses above the water, if they can do that. And then there's someone there to tell them that this is all due to the white power structure. And then
I was just going to say, when you have someone telling you that white people are your enemy, well, how do you think you're going to come out of that thinking that white people are your enemy? So much so that you can't even focus on school because you're too busy being an activist.
White students who are sick of hearing that. And they say, if you can't hack it, that's your problem. Don't give us this junk. And then that's called insensitivity. It's self-reinforcing. There are some reactions that are self-equilibrating, but there's some that keep feeding each other. Let's say an ugly racial incident happens on campus at one of the elite colleges. Invariably, the first thing that will be said is we must have now a larger quota of minority students, a larger quota of minority faculty, and we must now subject the white students to these sensitivity courses or ethnic courses or what have you, courses that they've rejected taking. Otherwise, they wouldn't be necessary to force them.
Wow. I mean, so far, the most profound thing about watching this is the fact that he said this 30 years ago, and you could just plug it right into a situation today. He said it 30 years ago, and it's still just as relevant. Actually, I would say it's probably even more relevant than it was even back then.
That is not going to make things better. That's going to make them worse. But as they get worse, then you keep doing that. And so it's just an upward spiral. And I just don't know where that spiral is going to end. I don't see anybody with the courage to end it. And I see it leading only to bad things.
What would you do if you were an administrator at a college or at a university?
Well, you see, you're bringing me in now 20 years after they've gone into this mess. 20 years ago, I said, don't do it. 20 years ago, I said, if you do it, this will be the consequence. And I wasn't the only one. And people simply did not want to hear it. And so I am very unsympathetic to the administrators. I said, you made this mess, you get out of it. Now, fortunately for me, nobody wants to hear what I have to say about it now. And so there's not another live issue for me. Some gentleman wrote me from Princeton. I think he's associated with the university in some way, that would I come to Princeton and confer with this or that person? And I said, no. You know, no one has ever asked me in all these years to come to a university and do this. I don't think there's the slightest interest at Princeton or anywhere else in what I have to say about these matters, because the ideologues feel they have the word, the truth, and the light, and they don't want me confusing the issue. And the others are afraid of the ideologues. And so there's no point in my making an unnecessary trip across the country just to chit-chat with people at Princeton.
Wow. Now, to address what he said at the outro, I understand it. You know, he's saying that while he was there, because he used to work at a prestigious school. I don't know which one, but I'm pretty sure he used to work at one. Maybe it was Harvard. He was a professor at Harvard or something. While he was working there, he tried to warn people and tell them, don't go down this road. It won't end well. And he wasn't the only one. He spent years there. So now it's like, why would he go back? Why would he go back when things have only gotten worse? People don't want to hear Thomas Sowell talk now. That's why you don't see him out on every news station. And clearly he doesn't really care so much about likes and clicks. He probably doesn't even run his own YouTube channel. But yeah, I mean, tell me now. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is what he just said, is what he said 30 years ago still relevant today? You let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Till next time, I'm out, you guys. Peace.